Hey everyone, welcome back to Study Hall. I am so excited for today's deep dive.
Me too.
We're going to be talking about something that you probably have on you right now,
Right.
or at least have used in the past few days, and that is wallets and purses.
Yes.
But what's so interesting about this topic is it's not just about, carrying our money and cards around.
It's not.
It's actually a really fascinating look into history and into gender roles and even fashion trends.
Yeah.
So we are going to be going on a journey through time to uncover why it is exactly that men tend to carry wallets and women carry purses.
Right.
And I think you'll be really surprised by some of the twists and turns along the way.
What's really interesting is that this whole thing actually goes back a long, long way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it goes back all the way to ancient civilizations like the Egyptians and the Romans.
Wow. So we're talking way before like designer handbags and minimalist wallets.
Totally.
Were wallets and purses even a thing back then?
Not exactly. In those times, both men and women used pouches to carry their valuables.
Okay.
So these pouches were made from, things like leather or cloth, and they were worn, either on belts or across the body.
Makes sense.
And it was all about practicality and security.
Yeah. Got to keep your stuff safe.
Exactly. Imagine you're in a bustling marketplace. You're trying to barter for goods.
Yeah.
You don't want your coins, spilling out everywhere.
Exactly. Someone's going to come snatch them.
Exactly. A pouch was the perfect solution.
So it was all about function over fashion back then.
Pretty much, although we do see some early hints of differentiation, even in those ancient times.
Oh, really? Like what?
Well, for example, some Egyptian tomb paintings actually depict women of higher status carrying more decorative cases,
Okay.
specifically for their cosmetics.
Oh, interesting. So they had like little makeup bags?
Kind of, yeah. And then you look at Roman merchants who were mostly men, and they preferred to keep their pouches hidden for security, which is kind of like a precursor to the discreet wallet.
Right. Like keep it tucked away. So even back then, people were kind of personalizing their carrying methods.
Right.
Yeah, based on like their needs and their social standing.
Absolutely.
That's so interesting. How did we go from everyone just rocking pouches to the whole like wallet purse divide that we know today?
Well, let's fast forward a little bit to medieval Europe.
Okay, knights and castles.
Exactly. Knights, castles, and still no pockets in clothing.
Oh, that's right.
So the belt pouch continued to be the go-to for both men and women.
I see.
And get this, medieval men were already super into the hidden is better approach.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they often tucked their pouches under their tunics for safekeeping.
It's like the medieval version of keeping your wallet in your front pocket.
Exactly.
But what about the women?
The women.
Were they like rocking these bulky pouches alongside their, flowing medieval gowns?
Well, actually, women in medieval times had this really unique thing called a chatelaine.
A chatelaine, what is that?
Imagine a decorative belt hook, almost like a fancy utility belt, from which they could hang all sorts of things. Keys, smaller purses, sewing tools, even tiny books.
Wow, a medieval utility belt.
Exactly. It was practical.
Yeah.
But it also became a status symbol,
Oh, interesting.
reflecting a woman's role as the keeper of the household.
Oh, wow. So it's like a fashion statement and practical.
Exactly.
I'm picturing a medieval mom just juggling kids' keys and maybe like a miniature cooking pot all dangling from her waist.
Right.
Talk about multitasking.
Exactly.
But I'm guessing this is where things start to really shift towards like the separate paths of wallets and purses.
You got it as we move into the Renaissance.
Gotcha.
Fashion takes a dramatic turn,
Okay.
especially for women.
Right.
We're talking elaborate gowns, layers upon layers of fabric.
Yeah.
There's no room for a bulky pouch on the outside.
I can imagine a pouch would clash with a really nice flowing Renaissance gown.
Totally.
Did women just start carrying less stuff?
Not necessarily. They still needed to carry things. But instead of relying on external pouches, they came up with a pretty ingenious solution.
What's that?
Hidden pockets.
Ooh, secret pockets.
Sewn into their clothing.
Wow, that's a game changer.
It was a game changer. Women could now discreetly carry their belongings while still adhering to the fashion trends of the time.
That's so smart.
Right.
So while women were rocking these secret pockets under their, extravagant gowns, men were still sporting pouches on the outside.
Wow.
Did anything change for them during the Renaissance?
Men's fashion was also evolving.
Okay.
It was becoming more form-fitting with tighter breeches and doublets.
Okay.
And unlike women's flowing gowns, these styles actually allowed for sewn-in pockets. So this seemingly small change was a pivotal moment in the history of men's fashion.
So that's how men finally got pockets.
Pretty much.
I bet it was a relief to not have to wear those pouches all the time.
I'm sure.
But did the wallet as we know it just like appear right away?
Not quite while the shift towards pockets was happening. The wallet still had a few more evolutionary steps to take.
Okay.
It was the introduction of paper money that really spurred the development of the modern wallet.
That makes sense. I mean, bulky coins were probably fine in a pouch,
Right.
but paper money, you need something slimmer, more organized.
Exactly. Paper money required a flat, foldable carrier that could also accommodate documents and receipts.
Yeah.
And this is where we start to see those early prototypes of the wallet emerge.
Oh, cool.
These were typically simple leather designs
Okay.
that could easily slip into a pocket.
Right.
Much more discreet and convenient than the pouches of the past.
So as men's fashion embraced pockets and the wallet emerged as the ideal carrier for paper money, what was happening with women's carrying habits?
Well, those hidden pockets, they were still a thing.
Okay.
But a new type of bag was emerging to meet the evolving needs of women in the 18th and 19th centuries, and that was the reticule.
The reticule, that sounds intriguing. What exactly was it?
Imagine a small drawstring bag, often made from delicate fabrics like silk or velvet.
Ooh, fancy.
It was like the stylish ancestor of the modern handbag.
Okay.
And unlike men's wallets, which were meant to be tucked away discreetly, reticules were meant to be seen.
Right.
They were often adorned with, intricate embroidery beading, even precious stones,
Wow.
reflecting a woman's social status and taste.
So it wasn't just about function anymore.
Right.
It was about fashion.
It was.
Sounds like the reticule was a stepping stone towards the handbag as we know it today.
Absolutely.
As women's lives became more public and active in the 19th century, did their carrying needs change?
They did. They needed something larger
Yeah.
and sturdier than a reticule to accommodate their belongings.
Right.
This led to the development of larger, more structured handbags,
Okay.
often made from durable materials like leather.
It's interesting how the evolution of the handbag kind of mirrors the changing roles of women in society
Absolutely.
as they gained more independence and participated in activities outside the home. Their handbags kind of reflect that shift
Exactly.
towards practicality and functionality.
Exactly.
And as we move into the 20th century, this trend kind of continues.
It does.
Women's handbags become even more diverse in style and size, reflecting their increasingly busy and multifaceted lives.
Right. They needed to carry everything from makeup and personal items to books, work documents, even shopping essentials.
Okay, so while men were content with their streamlined wallets tucked away in their pockets, women's handbags were evolving into these multifunctional fashion statements.
Yeah.
Did any particularly iconic bag designs emerge during this era?
Oh, absolutely. The mid-20th century was like a golden age for designer handbags.
Oh, really?
Yeah, brands like Hermes, Chanel, and Louis Vuitton.
Yeah.
They created iconic bags that are still highly sought after today.
I can imagine.
Like, for instance, the Hermes Kelly bag, named after Grace Kelly.
Oh, wow.
It became a symbol of elegance and sophistication. And then there's the Chanel 2.55 bag with its revolutionary chain strap.
Yeah.
It allowed women to carry their belongings hands-free.
Talk about a fashion revolution.
I know, right?
Those bags are practically legendary.
They are.
But while women were embracing these designer handbags as both fashion statements and practical companions, what was happening with the humble wallet?
Well, for men, the wallet continued to evolve with a focus on efficiency and compactness.
Okay.
The bifold wallet, a design we're all familiar with today,
Right.
it became increasingly popular in the early 1900s.
Yeah.
Its sleek, foldable design was perfect for keeping cash and cards organized
Yeah.
while still fitting comfortably in a pocket.
Right.
But there was another innovation that would further revolutionize the wallet:
What was that?
the credit card.
Ah, the credit card. The little piece of plastic that changed the way we spend money forever.
Right.
I bet those early wallets weren't exactly designed with credit card slots in mind.
You're right, they were primarily designed for banknotes.
Makes sense.
But as credit cards gained popularity in the mid-20th century, wallets adapted.
I see.
Dedicated card slots became a standard feature, leading to even slimmer and more compact designs.
So the wallet became even more minimalist
Right.
and efficient, further reinforcing that idea of practicality as a masculine trait.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, women's handbags were getting bigger, bolder, more luxurious.
Right.
Was this divide between wallets and purses ever going to shrink?
Well, that's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
As we enter the 21st century, we start to see a shift away from these rigid gender norms.
Okay.
And that's reflected in the world of wallets and purses as well.
Hold on. Are you telling me that men might finally be ditching their overstuffed wallets?
Maybe not handbags for everyone,
Okay.
but there's definitely a move towards more diverse and practical carrying solutions for all genders.
I see.
We're seeing the rise of unisex bags, crossbody bags, sling bags,
Yeah.
even those trendy fanny packs making a comeback.
Wait, fanny packs are back in style.
They are.
That's a blast from the past I wasn't expecting.
I know.
But it makes sense.
Right.
I mean, in today's world, convenience is key.
Right.
Who wants to be weighed down by a giant purse or a wallet bulging with receipts when you can have everything you need in a sleek, hands-free bag?
Exact.
And let's not forget the impact of technology.
Right.
The rise of digital wallets and contactless payment methods means that we can pretty much leave the house with just our phones and a few essential cards.
You're absolutely right. I rarely use cash these days.
Same.
It seems like the lines between wallets and purses are starting to blur.
Yeah, they are.
Hmm.
So what does this all mean for the future? Are we heading towards a world without physical wallets and purses altogether?
It's definitely a possibility, isn't it?
I mean, it's not hard to imagine, as technology keeps advancing,
Yeah.
that physical wallets and purses could become, completely obsolete.
Yeah.
Replaced by things like wearable tech or even like implanted chips.
Right.
Think about it like our payment information, our IDs, even our keys,
Yeah.
all stored digitally. No more like fumbling for your wallet at the checkout or digging through your purse for your keys.
It's a pretty wild thought, isn't it?
It is, but it also raises some interesting questions.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Well, if we do eventually transition away from physical wallets and purses,
Yeah.
what will that mean for personal style and self-expression?
That's a great point. Throughout this whole deep dive,
Mm-hmm.
we've seen how wallets and purses have evolved beyond just like their basic function of, carrying our stuff.
What, they've become fashion statements,
Exactly.
status symbols,
Mm-hmm.
even reflections of our individual personality?
Exactly. So even if physical wallets and purses become less common,
Yeah.
people will probably still find ways to express themselves
Right.
through what they carry or how they choose to carry it.
Maybe it'll be like a stylish phone case that doubles as a wallet or,
Mhm.
a unique piece of jewelry with embedded technology.
Yeah, I could see that happening.
Or maybe we'll see a resurgence of like handcrafted bags and pouches, valued not just for their practicality,
Yeah.
but for their artistry
Mm.
and the personal stories they tell.
Interesting.
Sort of like those medieval chatelaines that we were talking about earlier,
Oh, yeah.
but with a modern twist.
That's a cool parallel. Instead of keys and tools, we might be carrying our digital life and
Uh-huh.
personal data in these unique and beautifully crafted accessories.
It's kind of amazing to think about how these seemingly simple objects,
Yeah.
wallets and purses,
Mm-hmm.
have played such a significant role in our history
Right.
and continue to evolve alongside our, changing needs and values.
I think the key takeaway here is that wallets and purses,
Yeah.
for all their practicality, they're more than just containers for our belongings.
Right.
They're reflections of our history, our culture, our individual choices,
Yeah.
and our evolving relationship with the world around us.
Well said. So the next time you reach for your wallet or your purse,
Yeah.
just take a moment to consider the journey it represents. From those ancient pouches to modern designs,
Yeah.
from status symbols to minimalist essentials
Mm-hmm.
and everything in between.
And who knows what the future holds,
Right. Yeah.
Maybe we'll all be sporting high-tech wrist implants.
Right.
Or perhaps we'll find new and creative ways to carry the things that matter most to us.
Yeah.
But one thing's for sure,
What's the-
the story of wallets and purses is far from over.
It's a story that reflects, our constant innovation,
Yeah.
our changing needs, and our desire to express ourselves in unique and personal ways.
I agree.
And that is what makes this deep dive so fascinating.
It is.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep those curious minds engaged.
Yeah, it really is a fascinating thought, isn't it?
It is, but it also raises some interesting questions.
Oh, yeah, like what?
Well, if we do eventually transition away from physical wallets and purses,
Yeah.
what will that mean for personal style and self-expression?
That's a great point, because throughout this whole deep dive, we've seen how wallets and purses have evolved beyond just their basic function of carrying our stuff.
Right, they become fashion statements,
Yes.
status symbols,
Exactly.
even reflections of our individual personalities.
Exactly. So even if those physical wallets and purses become less common,
Yeah.
I think people will probably still find ways to express themselves through,
Yeah.
what they carry or how they choose to carry it.
Right. Maybe it'll be like a stylish phone case that doubles as a wallet or, a unique piece of jewelry with embedded technology.
Yeah, I could see that happening.
Or maybe we'll see a resurgence of handcrafted bags and pouches, valued not just for their practicality, but for their artistry and the personal stories they tell.
Interesting.
Sort of like those medieval chatelaines we were talking about earlier.
Oh, yeah.
But with a modern twist.
Yeah, that's a cool parallel. Instead of keys and tools, we might be carrying our digital lives and our personal data in these unique and beautifully crafted accessories.
It's amazing to think about how, these seemingly simple objects, wallets and purses,
Right.
have played such a significant role in our history and continue to evolve alongside our changing needs and values.
It really is. And I think as we wrap up this deep dive, the key takeaway here is that wallets and purses,
Yeah.
for all their practicality, they're more than just containers for our belongings.
Right.
They're reflections of our history, our
Yep.
culture,
Hmm.
our individual choices, and our evolving relationship with the world around us.
Well said. So the next time you reach for your wallet or your purse,
Yeah.
just take a moment to consider the journey that it represents. From ancient pouches to modern designs, from status symbols to minimalist essentials and everything in between.
And who knows what the future holds, right? Maybe we'll all be sporting high-tech wrist implants.
Right.
Or perhaps we'll find, new and even more creative ways to carry the things that matter most to us.
Yeah.
But one thing's for sure, the story of wallets and purses is far from over.
Absolutely. It's a story that reflects, our constant innovation, our changing needs,
Yeah.
and our desire to express ourselves in unique and personal ways. And that is what makes this deep dive so fascinating. So until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep those curious minds engaged.